Good afternoon. This is Christian from Tribeca Trade Group with your Wednesday recap. And we had some things that moved today, some sectors that really moved pretty well today, but I'll talk about those in 2 seconds. First things first, the S&P chart, kind of a slow day for most of the indices, just a kind of slow grind. A couple times a little bit of volatility came in through the day, but really not much. When I say volatility, it was a couple of red bars really, and then we kind of resumed moving higher. S&P just up about 20 basis points for the day, and some nice progress being made here. Where the price is now above the 20-period moving average, which I think is some nice progress. Considering where we were last week, when every move towards the end of last week where we were not able to hold price. Price kept on rallying, and then we would kind of sit back and we're not closing on the highs. We don't have a ton of momentum here, but again, a nice bounce on Monday, further on Tuesday, and then a little bit more progress today. Again, looking at the Qs, you'll kind of see it's much better. Qs outperforms. You can see Nasdaq was up 58 basis points. Qs were up 46, but these things are back just about to the high, which was reached last Tuesday in the beginning of the day, and then we sold off. But really, looking pretty good here. We're about a day away from possibly a new high in Nasdaq. So really nice looking chart. We've mentioned this in the newsletter several times that the Qs seem to be where the relative outperformance is. Small caps kind of ran into value. I actually tried playing a little bit of small caps like I did yesterday, but they've got. I kind of looked at this and said this morning. I said, well, I don't know how far they're going to get to because they do have that resistance, which is the bottom of value on the daily chart. So again, a nice clawback here, bend but don't break. But we still have some more work to do. You could see of order of. Best performing is obviously the Qs, then S&P, and then small caps last here. So they've still got some more work to do. I mentioned today that it was kind of just a grinding of a day. Right around 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock, we got to a high. Kind of came down. Here was the red bars that I was talking about, and then it moved back. But it seems like every time we wanted to go, just we weren't ready to really break out for the day. Again, which is fine. The story of the day, well, I guess there was a couple stories of the day, but crude, real strong move in crude today. Look at what crude is doing even after hours here, still going. 10, we were already up a little bit in crude in the morning, and the Department of Energy numbers showed a little bit of a drawdown in terms of inventories, and that was enough to kind of get us going. Sometimes when there's enough bad news, just a little bit of good news, like we saw yesterday with the rumor on Libya production cuts or not producing as much, caused us to lift up a little bit, and that's basically where we were at with crude when the bad news I think was kind of priced in. Anything good was going to bring us up. This was the drawdown in inventories. Less production than expected will kind of give us that. But you can see what's going on here. Nice move, even right now up until about 5 o'clock Eastern here, and that's pretty much where the option activity. The reason why I'm laughing is because it actually fell over to 2 pages today, and we see this every once in a while. But a lot of it was dominated by energy plays, just like yesterday. We saw this. You can see the font a little bit bigger from yesterday, but we did see some nice energy plays. I think this one's actually a material name, but OAS was a nice one. I actually put that trade on in cash, considering the price of the stock. But it was a continuation. I know we were looking at Chesapeake this morning. I really don't like to take names, even though the thing was up almost 8% today. I don't really like to take names below the 200-day moving average, unless it's for a day trade. So keep this one on your radar. Real nice move. Maybe we're going to see some follow through. Names that did, besides this one. Look at COP, which it was announced. So we saw a call buyer literally about 8 seconds before those oil inventory numbers came out in Conoco. There was some news about Conoco after hours. I think they're selling one of their assets, and looks like making a profit off of that. So again, sometimes these guys know something. Which there was an aggressive call buyer. It was literally about 8 seconds before that 10:30 Eastern Department of Energy number. Besides that. Halliburton calls going up. Take a look at Halliburton. I actually put this name on in cash today because you got a nice defined support level or a stop price, which will be the 200-day moving average. So first entry for me today in Halliburton, sitting right above that 200-day moving average. And again, like I said, this looks similar on a lot of charts. HFC, Holly Frontier, we also saw a call buyer in this one. Again, look at that white line come down here. So the 200-day moving average, a lot of these names, the stronger of the, just like Chesapeake and a few other names are definitely below the 200-day moving average. But a couple of the stronger names have been able to maintain above that 200-day moving average. And that's where I want to take shots on things because I've got just very easy to find support so that if it doesn't work, I can get out quickly and it won't be a big loser. But I want to stick that, so that's a nice trend following trade, and I'll just kind of stay long in cash as long as we're above that 200-day moving average. So I think that's a really good place to get involved personally. We did see some XLE energy calls yesterday. Notice that this actually underperformed the XOP, which is up 2.7%. That's still underneath. Keep in mind Exxon and Chevron have a weight of about 25, 26% in the XLE, but that's still underneath the 200-day moving average, as is XOP. So again, you really have to pick out names. Big winner for me was this ECA that I got into a couple weeks ago. This one you had to be a little bit of patient. Had to show a little bit of patience. I think I actually got, using that 200-day moving average and using my trading system, which is important. I put that trade on, I think, right around here, had it on for about 2 days and got stopped out of it. And then put it right back. So I was originally in the July calls. Once it broke the 200-day moving average, I jumped out of it. And then I think that same day, if I'm not mistaken, I actually put the October position on as it reclaimed the 200-day moving average. So real powerful day. I remember taking a target on this day, and I've been sitting with it as long as it's maintaining the 200-day. Got a little bit iffy here one day, but man, what a huge winner today. The name was up close to 7% today, so really, really strong performance. And I'm going to sit with the last portion of this piece. Again, it's an October position, and I'll sit long against that 200-day moving average and see how it goes. No predictions, just letting the price action do its thing, and then I've got my stop price pre-built into it. So that was the majority. That was, I think, the big story of the day. And I think, technology, a couple of the semi names really not participating today. And I don't think really any damage. I just think sometimes when there's more interesting places to be, people kind of just turn their focus from those names. So they've been kind of cold the last 2 days, the semi names. But you look at the SMH chart, and there's nothing wrong with this thing whatsoever. So the fact that it's just a little bit quiet here is just kind of how this thing moves. So nothing wrong with this chart whatsoever. What else was active today? Retail, the retail does this. I feel like whenever XRT bounces quite a bit, it's a good place to fade it. I actually threw on a couple short call spreads fading this move. Obviously, Restoration Hardware was the catalyst today. Big move up there. See that VPOC being taken out? Again, sometimes these things act as magnets. Certainly, Restoration Hardware, by the way, nice move above the 200-day moving average. Speaking of that, speaking of the 200-day, nice move there. So that gave a move to a lot of the retail names. You could actually see this in XRT. That really had nothing to do with Restoration Hardware's quarter. I think you might see a little bit of retracement in this. Cabela's actually, there was some news on Cabela's right at the end of the day. That was the best one. But Dillard's, Asna, Nordstrom, I mean, these things really can pop, after they've kind of been depressed for a while. So you could take, if you have a lot of long positions on, retail might be something to kind of put in your portfolio as a short while it's below that 200-day moving average. Lulu tanked after hours, so that is a reason why retail might be reversing some of those gains from yesterday. Let's see where Lulu is right now. Yeah, from $67 all the way down to 54. I think that's going to weigh on some of those retailers, specialty retail names tomorrow. Biotech had a real nice day today. It actually finished way off the highs though. I really wasn't paying too much attention to biotech today. I don't know what that candle's all about, but you could see that we were up over 1% in biotech, so gave back some of those gains. We'll have to monitor that, but really not the way that you want to see things go once they reclaim the moving averages, but we'll keep an eye on that. What else? I feel like I'm missing a couple things. Banks kind of very quiet today. Financials, down a little bit on the day. So it's also why I think S&P was just up slightly. You had a number of sectors that were down on the day, not down huge, but down around a third of a percent. Amazon was also, I would say, another story of the day. We talked about this one pre-market. We said, and I actually sent out the chart on Twitter this morning. I said, if this thing gets above, it's trying to get above value. And that's often the case is when you have a consolidation right beneath the value area. Once it goes, it goes. You have to take into account what it is in Amazon right now. It's a breakout of a 1 month sideways pattern. So really nice, strong performance, and that's new high. So if you want to go long Amazon here, it's obviously a high price stock, but maybe something like in call options is a way to go. We played Amazon this week today, and I took off my call spread for full profits today. So very happy with that play today. So that's it for today's video. There may be a little bit of volatility as we get towards the end of the week with end of the quarter flows. There's obviously those things like window dressing going on and so forth. But, I think very positive to see oil continue to rebound after hours. So a nice little move today, and we'll see if we get a little bit more continuation tomorrow. Thanks for watching the video, and have a great night.